A shocking new video filmed not by the military but by a civilian sailor in the Gulf of
Oman is now exposing a moment that could redefine the balance of power in the Middle East.
The footage captures a dramatic scene near the UAE port of Fujairah as two Iranian ballistic missiles
tear through the sky before slamming into critical oil infrastructure. Moments later, air defenses respond to the lie.
UAE armed forces using the American-made MIM-104 Patriot system launch interceptor after interceptor.
6 missiles in total. But what happens next is raising serious questions about the defense system effectiveness.
All 6 interceptors appear to fail. The Iranian missiles, uninterrupted and unchallenged, strike their targets without resistance.
There are no advanced countermeasures, no evasive maneuvers, just raw impact. And yet the system
does not stop them. This rare footage smuggled out from beyond UAE jurisdiction comes amid strict censorship inside the country, where authorities have reportedly arrested dozens for filming or sharing evidence of the strikes.
But beyond the visuals lies a deeper concern. Each Patriot interceptor costs up to $6 million.
That means nearly $18 million was spent trying and failing to stop missiles worth a fraction of
that cost. It is a costly imbalance in a war increasingly defined by economics as much as
firepower. And this is not an isolated incident. Similar footage from Qatar captured in the early hours of the conflict also appears to show repeated interception failures. In both cases, 3 interceptors were launched
per incoming missile, suggesting a growing lack of confidence in the system's ability to deliver single kills.
Meanwhile, Iran's missile arsenal is vast, far larger than the interceptor stockpiles held by the United States and its regional allies. Reports suggest U.S. reserves had already dropped to just 25% of
required levels before this conflict even began. And now the defensive shield is weakening even further today, leaving critical infrastructure increasingly exposed. For Gulf states located just minutes away from Iranian launch sites, there is
little room for error, and even less time to react. This is no longer just a
battle of weapons, but a test of systems, strategy, and sustainability. Because if defenses continue to fail,
Baghdad is once again at the center of a dangerous and rapidly escalating conflict, as drones, explosions,
and airstrikes shake the Iraqi capital. In a startling development, a pro-Iranian militia, known as
Sarah Aliyah Alam, has released dramatic footage showing a drone flying deep inside the United States Embassy
compound in Baghdad. The video, nearly 2 minutes long, appears to show the drone weaving between buildings.
It's flying just meters away from a large American flag inside one of the most heavily fortified zones
in the world. The footage, dated March 16th, cannot be independently verified, but its message is unmistakable.
As panic spread through the streets. At the same time, the U.S. Embassy came under renewed drone
armed groups. Earlier the same day, a deadly strike on a checkpoint in western Iraq killed 8
Iraqi troops, an attack widely believed to have triggered the latest wave of retaliation. Meanwhile, Iraq's vital
oil infrastructure is also under threat, with drone strikes reported at the Majnoon oil field in south.
What is unfolding is no longer isolated violence, but a multi-front escalation, with embassies, military bases.
One question now looms large. How far will this conflict go before it engulfs the entire region?
Iraq used to export around 3.4 million barrels of oil per day through southern ports,
which is the oil port of Basra. But in light of military operations and the Hormuz closure, Iraqi oil exports stopped 2 or 3 days after the beginning of the war in the region.
Iraq is depending mainly on the revenues coming from the exportation of crude oil.
And, in light of halting the exportation, it means that Iraq is deprived from these revenues.
But there are efforts
By the oil ministry to resume the exportations of amounts of crude oil through Sihan port today.
The oil ministry, via the North Oil Company and the Oil Projects Company, are implementing hydrostatic testing,
which is considered being the last stage of operations to rehabilitate the pipe. This test will finish within a week, so we can pump crude oil from Kirkuk oil fields directly to the pipeline, without passing by the Kurdistan region.
Heat! Heat! Heat!
The pressure continues to build for the workers.
Critical logistics routes are being remapped as the conflict enters a new and more dangerous phase today.
Air patrols have increased over the northern oil fields to protect the rehabilitation work from drone strikes.
Engineers are working under the constant threat of aerial bombardment as they race to finish the project.
Every hour of delay costs millions in lost revenue, making the pipeline a high-stakes military objective. At sea, the situation remains tense as regional navies monitor the movements of unidentified fast attack boats.
Reports from the front lines are often contradictory, as both sides engage in intense psychological operations today.
Civilians are the most vulnerable as the battle for control over oil and energy infrastructure intensifies further. The night sky is no longer a place of peace, but a battlefield for swarms of drones.
Global energy markets are bracing for a prolonged supply disruption that could trigger a major economic crisis. Efforts to resupply depleted air defense interceptors are being hampered by global logistics and production delays today.
Evidence of failed interceptions can be found across the desert, serving as a reminder of defense limits.
High-level meetings are being held in secret to determine the threshold for a full military response.
The threat of a massive volley strike remains high, as launch sites are positioned along the coast.
Defensive strategies are being rewritten in real time to account for the new reality of drone warfare.
Aerial monitoring of the new pipeline is continuous, but the vast distance makes total security nearly impossible.